But I can't wait to talk World Cup. Paul Jonasant is going to be here, and Lucas Santos. Paul is from Haiti. He grew up in Montreal, and from that great country of Brazil, the home of Pele. Yes, we're going to talk to Lucas, a young, passionate soccer fan, in a moment. NHL, the Pittsburgh Penguins, Connor Sheary gone. Still talking about Paul Kessel. Jack Johnson's name is coming up. Off-season for the Pittsburgh Penguins.
This year it seems like there has been more talk about rebuilding than there have in the past. Not that having 2 Stanley Cup championships over the last 3 years is anything to be disappointed with, but I know a lot of people weren't happy whenever the Penguins bowed out in the second round against the Capitals. Phil Kessel has definitely been a name that's brought up a lot of attention. There was some turmoil during the playoffs as it was assumed that he wanted to play on Evgeny Malkin's line and was frequently not on that line. And it seems, if the rumors are true, that his reputation as not being the easiest to get along with in the back and in the locker room, especially in concerns of the media, has kind of followed him. And it should be interesting to see what kind of return the Pittsburgh Penguins can get if they were looking to move him. And the biggest question is really who's out there that's they're looking to move. Phil Kessel could be a wonderful addition to a number of teams in the league, but this is the salary cap era, and you have to be very mindful of that.
All right, let's talk about some of the news from the NHL. Willie O'Ree going in, the very first black player ever in the National Hockey League, third in the Hall of Fame. That speaks volumes of what that means for him. But you think of Gary Bettman, who's helped the league grow to 31 teams. He too going in. But the big story, if you're a pure hockey fan, Martin Brodeur revolutionized a lot in the wonderful sport of hockey when it comes to the people that make their living in the net. But also most saves, most games played, most career shutouts, obviously deserving. Let's begin with him.
Yeah, Martin Brodeur, you hit the nail on the head. That's a man who revolutionized the goaltending position in the NHL. He spent most of his career with the New Jersey Devils, had a short stint in St. Louis near the end. But prior to Martin Brodeur, it was a lot of stand-up goaltending or just guys on their knees the entire time. Martin Brodeur brought the butterfly style, the up-down motion, quick cutting down angles into that position. He definitely saw in his era some of the increase in the equipment size, but you also saw a lot faster players in the league. He spent the prime of his career playing New Jersey Devils with that wonderful neutral zone trap that really allowed him to progress and really perfect his style throughout the year. And thankfully he's got that Stanley Cup to show for it. And I don't think there's any fan of this sport who can deny that Martin Brodeur deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
All right, in closing, I mentioned Willie O'Ree, which is an amazing story. Gary Bettman, the commissioner, I know you've had your moments, but for the most part, he's brought them into the modern age. And now that they're getting a lot of exposure on that great network that is NBC, it seems to be that hockey's finally being accepted and taking its really rightful place as far as the big sports is concerned, and I do appreciate that.
Oh, absolutely, and it's always popular to boo the boss, but you're absolutely right. Gary Bettman helped grow the league, and during his time, you saw the start of the Winter Classic Series, which is one of the highlights of every NHL season. You saw some retooling of the NHL playoffs, which I think has really assisted in having a lot more marquee matchups during the years. And just a lot of rule changes that have really changed the style of play. Growing up watching hockey in the 80s and early 90s versus the NHL today, it is a grand difference from what it was. But we're very blessed that we're looking at guys like Alex Ovechkin, who just got his first cup, Sidney Crosby, all this international talent. Not to mention the guys who are coming up. And the one thing that I don't think a lot of people talk about is the Canadian hockey teams coming back. You have the Winnipeg Jets just recently established. There's a lot of talk about the Quebec Nordiques coming back. Toronto Maple Leafs have finally begun showing a little bit of traction to go farther in the series. So there is a lot that Gary Bettman has done very, very good. And I don't think you've seen that amount of growth in the league and any commissioner prior to him since you went from the original 6 to the first expansion era.
I'd still select Gordie Howe as my overall #1 pick. Ladies and gentlemen, World Cup next at the AT&T store in Cranberry. Rethink possible. Good afternoon.